critical race theory jammed in our schools, this debacle, right, with the vaccines and with the CCP virus. The central beating heart is the American people sitting there going, you know what? The more I hear about it, and I'm not hearing it on mainstream media except on MSNBC that covers it every night, and they covered it every night in their own perspective, but they cover the details of everything that's happening. When people sit there, you go, you know what? I've got a lot of questions about 3 November. I've got questions about his legitimacy. And as people question his legitimacy, his political capital recedes before us, right? That's why it's not going to be 10 new states. That's why it's not going to be 50 new Supreme Court justices. Do not look at the pro wrestling in the foreground that they're trying to get you to focus on. That's noise. This is signal. With no money, they can't do anything. And you are the only people in the world that can grant them to raise that debt ceiling, right? If they can't raise that debt ceiling, there's no $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. There's no $3.5 trillion radical Green New Deal that's really all these social programs wrapped up into one. You have the ultimate power. You have the power on November 3rd. You have the power to get to the bottom of the 1/6. You have the power to get to the bottom of the Wuhan lab where we've changed all what the world thought about it, right? That it came from some cave 1,000 miles from Wuhan and somehow mysteriously wandered up over the back roads and mountains of China to a wet market in Wuhan. We know that's a lie. We know what happened on 3 November, what they told us is a lie. And we're about to find out what 1/6 happened on 1/6 is a lie. Okay? They cannot stop you, and they fear you, and they will use anything to chop the leaders of this movement, whether it's Donald Trump or Jair Bolsonaro. They will use any method they can. And the one thing they can't stop is a righteous, relentless people that determine they're not going to back off. And so we leave here in the next couple of days. Your righteous indignation is what's going to save this nation.
Well, here's a providential thing. We talked about the word righteous. There's something really sweet about what's happening here and what's happened this past 9 months or so. Remember on January 6th what happened. We were going to present the electors, but there were 7 states that had dueling electors. Those electors are unsealed and counted alphabetically. And wouldn't you know, right when Arizona was opened, curious thing happened. This breach. And all of a sudden, we can't get to the heart of the fraud that the American people wanted to know more about through the rule of law. And it's curious that it was Arizona that was silenced when all they wanted was like a 10-day investigation. That was what was being asked by Senator Ted Cruz. Look what happened, though. Look who rose to the forefront. The state of Arizona. Right? And instead of a measly 10 days with a bunch of politicians looking at stuff they didn't understand, they got 60 full days and counting with people that got the best experts in the country. And right now, we have it all. We don't have the routers, but we still have enough. Okay, so it's these divine providences where the enemy thinks they've won by going through this smoke and mirrors debacle, but we the people, demanded more. And we had some courageous senators that helped accomplish that. So Maricopa is still in play. Great news is going to come out of there. We know it. Just have faith. But the enemy intended the 6th for a different outcome. And we're seeing an exact opposite, where Arizona is just shining very bright. So I can't wait till we get to the next state. And the electoral votes, where you can subtract, get down below 270, and we get the real president back in office. We still have to proceed. We still have to do a full forensic audit in every state. Why? Because what we've just seen over the past hour, 2 hours, we have corruption everywhere. And we have to root it out. We got to build the foundation all over again.